Welcome everybody to our practice today, Yin Yoga Long Holds for hips and hamstrings. My name is Eleni and I'll be guiding you today. So let us either have a beach towel or a blanket and 2 yoga blocks to support our practice today. And we'll begin in our first shape, which is a seated diamond pose. If you would like to, sitting the hips up on a blanket here, just to invite a gentle pelvic tilt forward. Bringing the outer edges of the feet together, the knees wide. Allow the heels to move away from the pelvis here so you have that nice wide diamond shape between the legs. When you feel comfortable, you can start to take that first forward fold here. So noticing our first edge and noticing the sensation here. Perhaps we bring 2 blocks underneath the thighs, supporting the hips. Or you can bring forearms to rest on the blocks as well. So we will be taking longer holds for this practice, about 5.5 to 6 minutes each, knowing that the shape will change as we hold the poses. Even if we stay in the exact same physical shape that we begin in, you'll start to notice how the body responds, and you'll start to feel that the pose is getting deeper into the physical body, energetically. So here we may come a little bit deeper, allowing the head to be heavy here, chin towards the chest. And let's begin to notice our breath here. So breathing in, filling up the back body, filling up through the base of the spine, allowing your breath to rise into the rib cage, all the way up to the upper back and shoulder blade. And then on the exhalation, feel the breath slowly move its way back down. Breathing up and down the spine, the back body. Taking this moment here to tune in. So as we settle, inviting that gentle, more meditative state into our practice today. Perhaps we set an intention, offering dedication of this practice, knowing that this can be guided inwards towards the self, something you would like to call in. This can also be dedicated towards someone, something. And if nothing comes to mind, just leave it be. No need to grasp. Slowly make your way deeper if it feels good to your body. Knowing that our practice is going to change on a day-to-day basis. And we honor where we are in this very moment, here and now. Allowing your body to be your most experienced teacher, your wisest teacher. So listening to the cues of the body throughout this practice. If anything becomes too intense, feel free to modify or come out of the pose as needed. Taking your time to explore each posture and taking your time to just move towards that inward journey. Allowing a few more breaths here in our seated diamond pose. And so slowly we'll begin to release. So we want to come out very gently, walking the hands back, stacking the vertebrae, lifting the head and gaze, maybe rolling the shoulders up and back. And then so gently draw your knees in towards one another and bring the feet flat. Take your time. If you want to rest in stillness, extend the legs long and pause. If you like to take a gentle and slow windshield wiper, start to draw the knees to one side and then the other. If anything else calls to you here to do as a counter pose, please feel free to just listen to your body, do what you need to do, take care of yourself. Inviting a back bend if that feels good, lifting the heart and chest, maybe pointing the toes forward, moving the spine in the opposite direction. Feel free to massage the legs here, tap the knees, really embracing this rebound pose. And slowly we begin to release. We'll come on to hands and knees here, making our way into our swan sequence. We'll start with our right knee behind the right wrist, starting to gently shimmy that shin forward, walking your left toes back, noticing your right hip. If we need some support, sliding a block or a blanket underneath so that we can keep the hip points level. We're coming into our upright swan here. So noticing that gentle back bend. And just to preface here by saying if this is not comfortable or too much for your knee, especially because we'll be holding for a longer period, feel free to come onto the back and take a figure 4 instead, where you'll cross your right ankle over your left thigh with the knee bent. Couple more breaths here and then we'll fold. Maybe having a block here to support the upper body. We'll start to fold forward. So noticing that release. Perhaps softening with a block here underneath the forehead. You can also stack the fist. And let's begin to slow down here. So we start to observe this posture, observe the first edge, noticing sensation, noticing that gentle or dull ache that we feel in the right side of the hip. Please check in with your knee joint here, and if you're feeling any type of burning or sharp sensation, I'll ask you to come on your back and take figure 4 instead. So unfortunately, when we fold over the leg like this, it does bring pressure onto the knee. And know that that's an option for you to come into on one side versus the other, or even halfway through the pose if you need to. I'll be offering a couple variations of Sleeping Swan. Just please move into what feels best for you. So if it feels comfortable to stack the hands and bring the forehead to rest, feel free to do that as well. And we soften, we let go. Can we scan the body here and just notice if there's any more space to release? Finding that awareness here and giving permission for the body to settle. If you would like to practice a thread the needle here, feel free to lift up here, and we'll take that left arm and thread it underneath the right. And then your right forearm can either rest beside the face here on the mat, or you can bend the elbow, bring that forearm underneath the head to support the neck. So this is a very twisty, pretzel-y kind of shape and pose. Please just work with what you're comfortable here. This may or may not be appropriate for the body today. And I just like to give these as suggestions, as options and variations. So really you get to explore in this lovely and beautiful and unique practice. Let's find a couple more breaths here. Breathing through the back body. Breathing into that outer right hip. And slowly we'll start to release. Walk your right palm beside the face and unthread the left arm. And we're going to so gently sit back on that right hip and swivel the left leg around so that you're in a seated posture here with the legs forward. Take a couple minutes or moments here to windshield wiper the feet, windshield wiper the knees. Do what feels good, even if you'd like to just stay in a state of stillness. And when you're ready, we'll start to move into half caterpillar. So this one, I am bending my right knee and extending the left leg forward. If you need a break here from our previous pose, please do the opposite. So without trying to confuse you, you could take your left knee, bend it, and extend your right leg, and you would be in half caterpillar. So notice here that I rolled up a blanket, placed it underneath the knee. So this makes the pose more accessible, allows me to get just a little bit deeper without hyperextending the knee joints or pulling into the low back and bulging outwards. So you can modify in many different ways here. One option would be to sit up on the edge of the mat if you roll that outermost edge so that you can elevate, or sit up on a block or blanket and bringing a prop underneath the knee. So if you're sitting up super high, like on a block or a blanket, you'll need to bring a prop underneath that knee as well. That's the same height or higher. And if you are rooted to the earth here, we're not too high up on a bolster or block, seated. Feel free to start hinging forward from the hips, allowing that stretch through the spine and the back body, and start to release the forearms towards the earth. So we let the head get super heavy here, chin towards chest, And starting to notice all of those beautiful stretching sensations that we feel in the back of the thigh, the hamstring. So just observe here, and just like our seated diamond, you can come deeper into the forward fold if it feels appropriate for your back, for the hips, for the leg. And here we just really surrender to this space of time. So unlike our sleeping swan, where you can explore many different variations, this one we're gonna settle in, find that space, and start to cultivate really deep stillness to the point where it might be difficult for the mental process to just hold still. Yin in itself is a challenging practice on many levels. Not only do we challenge our tissues, creating space through the joints, but we're also creating mental space by being with sensation of discomfort, with feeling the sensation and the rawness and the edginess of these shapes and these postures, and coming back to that still point, that place between effort and ease, the middle road. Not too much, not too little, but just right. So breathing through the back body, softening. I have this beautiful quote here by the River of Wisdom, and I'll put the link in the description below. The windmill doesn't try to control the wind or demand that it blow in another direction. It simply surrenders to the wind, and in doing so, it becomes a source of immense power. The water wheel doesn't attempt to change the course of the river. It simply surrenders to the flow and allows the power of the river to be expressed through it. Most see surrender as a form of weakness, when in reality, surrender is the source of all true power. So what a beautiful quote here by Darren Main. Couple more breaths here. You're doing wonderfully. And then we'll slowly release. So start to walk the hands up. Take your time. So there's very much a sense of fragility, vulnerability here in the joints and the tissue as they kind of reset. So take time here if you'd like to take a gentle back bend, lifting the heart, maybe tapping the knees. And taking your time, there is no rush whatsoever. We'll meet back on our hands and knees, preparing for the other side, swan. This time, left knee is behind the left wrist. Start to walk that right toe back. And then level the hip points here as we start in our upright swan, creating that gentle back bend here. Breathing deeply into the heart space, offering the space here of the heart. And slowly we'll begin to fold forward. So remember, you always have that option to come onto the back. Take your figure 4, left ankle crossing over right thigh. If you are folded forward here in our sleeping swan, feel free to support the forehead, bringing a block, bringing a bolster, or even just stacking the fist underneath the forehead. So listening to your body here, we'll begin to move into this shape and feel the sensations and how they're different on this side than they were on the right. Noticing how your body responds on each side asymmetrically, and honoring both sides of the body as beautiful, unique, and distinct. Of course, what we do to one side, we want to even it out on the other. However, we may have different needs depending on what our bodies have experienced and if we have any injury. So please honor yourself. Please honor the body and take the support that you need. If you feel called to release any props and bring your chest and forehead closer to the earth, feel free to stack the hands and bring the forehead onto the top of the hand. And if you'd like to try thread the needle on this side and you did so on the other, take the right arm and thread it underneath the left. Keep the left forearm rooted to the earth. You might create a gentle pillow here, just like I did, where you bring the side of the face and the head onto that left forearm. Just check in with your shoulders here. Make sure this feels appropriate. If not, just release. Slow and deep breaths, softening the thoughts. We'll give ourselves about another minute here, so modifying as needed. If you need to take a little bit of a less intense variation, feel free to do so. Offering those last couple breaths here. Gently let's release. So bring that left arm close to the body, unthread the right arm. Take time. We're going to gently rock onto that left hip if you're here in swan, and swing the right leg around and just take stillness, extend the legs or take movement, pat the knees, windshield wiper the feet. If you were on the back for figure 4, you can rock onto one side and come up through seated. Noticing here, nice deep breaths. Maybe massaging the legs. So bringing the hands to the outside of the leg and working the way down and then to the inside. And then we'll prepare for half caterpillar. So if you're sticking with me, you'll bring your left foot to the inner right thigh, extend the right leg forward, pad the knee here. You may or may not want to support the upper body with blocks. Of course, if you did the other knee last time, find the opposite leg. So you'll just notice here how this side may feel tighter, may feel more open. Usually on one side of the body we have a little more space, so just notice if this is that side or not. And if you feel comfortable here, hinging from the hips, bringing the belly towards the thigh, drawing the forehead towards the shin so the head is heavy here like a prop. Bringing space through the back of the neck, creating space through the vertebrae, through the back. If we have any type of injury in the back, please support yourself. You can keep a tall spine in these postures and just skip the fold. And we settle here into this half caterpillar, hamstring, focus stretch. Perhaps visualizing the gentleness of a caterpillar folding into itself, preparing for transformation. By going inward, by taking the time to create, to grow, to manifest its wings, knowing that it doesn't happen overnight, knowing that the beauty of cultivating any goal or task or vision is more about finding the middle road between surrender and effort. One of the quotes that one of my Yin teachers recently said was that you may not completely understand, but it's the effort that counts. So whether that's even just taking a Yin class, being in a Yin pose, this could be we may not have complete certainty of what's to come as far as life choices, relationships, goals, career, But if it's something that sparks your passion, your fire, it's the effort that counts. And I like to use that word carefully in a society that we overproduce and overpush our bodies and push beyond effort. So just knowing the effort and ease as the place to stay balanced. Beautiful work. We're here for a couple more breaths. Slowly we begin to release, walking the hands back, taking as much time as you need without rushing so the body can acclimate here. So release any prop we have underneath the knee. You can extend that opposite leg forward. Perhaps invite a soft back bend here, lifting the heart and the chest. You might stay in a gentle state of stillness, just observing the rebound. You can also take big windshield wipers with the knees bent, or little ones with the toes and the feet. If you're taking big windshield wiper, maybe you wrap around, so taking that twist and observing and feeling that side body stretch. Beautiful work today, everybody. We're going to make our way onto the back, hug the knees into the chest. So here we're just going to start to wind down, taking our twists to prepare for rest. So these twists will be a traditional 3 to 3.5 minute hold. They're not going to be as long as the previous holds. So knees hug in, deep breath, and then we'll take the knees over to the right or the left and bring the opposite arm beside the body, palm facing up, either reaching it out or maybe just letting it drape beside you, coming into that half cactus. Noticing where the knees land. If the knees are below the navel, try to inch them in line with. Also, if there's space between the knees or space between the knees and the floor, you can bring a block here to support you. It's always important to support the joints so we're not just hanging in midair, and that way they can actually get really deep into the pose, and the pose can work on a different level. Winding down our practice. Feeling yourself supported here by the earth below, the groundedness of the physical body, allowing the breath to soothe the physical body. Take a moment here. We'll draw the knees back through the center and let them fall to the opposite side. Again, using blocks here if you'd like to. Feeling the back of the head soft, feeling the breath start to move into its natural rhythm, allowing the body to receive nourishment, receiving all the kindness and dedication of the practice. Couple more breaths here, just being so sweet and so kind to ourselves. And when you're ready, just softly let the knees come back through the center. Give yourself a little hug, squeeze, rock. Take a final happy baby here just to neutralize the spine, bringing the outer edges of the feet or the hands to the shins, keeping the spine long. When you're ready, we'll start to release completely, finding your version of Shavasana. What does that look like for you? It could be your traditional pose, heels to each corner of the mat, or we might use these wonderful props, bringing 2 blocks underneath the knees, wrapping the body with a blanket. And then letting the body settle, letting the body release, letting the body relax, feeling that cultivation of your inner light, expanding, feeling the inner light nourishing, feeling your physical body receiving, feeling that openness here, receiving what you need. Slowly allowing the awareness to drift back to the body, wiggling the toes, the fingers, the ankles or wrist. Being so sweet and kind here, reaching the arms overhead and the toes forward, full body stretch. Bringing the knees into the chest. Rocking onto one side. And gently coming up through seated. Bringing the arms overhead, scooping up all of your inner light, all of your beauty, and bringing it into the heart space to shine out into the world. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. I am working with a sister channel called Mindful Metta, listed in the description below. So if you like guided meditations or yin music, please find that content there. Thanks so much.